Life in public shooting era America, you can't just not go. Ohio, a bar district where friends gathered for drinks on a warm Saturday night. Texas, a wall, 2 consecutive summer weekends. Less than 7 days, or perhaps not. Perhaps no long, But, Greer says, you. That might be an apt slogan for America, circa 2019. You can't just not go. Civic life, particularly the public portion of it, has been a foundation of American society since the beginnings. That may have ebbed at other daily life institutions that have been visited by mass shootings: houses of worship, movie theaters, malls, a newsroom, and, of course, schools. And the question becomes more pressing: are these loud, sudden events starting to fundamentally change America in quiet, incremental ways? The sites where bullets flew and people fell this past week are not simply places where random people gather publicly and informally. More importantly, these aren't only mass shootings. Gilroy, in fact, with 3 dead other than the shooter, technically isn't a mass. The chances of an American being caught up in a public mass shooting remain incredibly rare. Nevertheless, El Paso's 20, Daton's 9, and Gilroy's 3 have caused online outpourings around many questions, some more political than others. But variations. There are, loosely, 2 types of reactions that sometimes overlap. One is to back off. In Squirrel Hill, the Pittsburgh neighborhood where a shooter killed 11 people at Tree of Life Synagogue last fall, a commitment to doing exactly that has helped ensure that civic life remains vibrant. There is little visible. In Dayton, Nikita Papillon, 23, described the site of the killings that happened across the street from her Saturday night as the kind of location where. But does that? From Britain, which grappled with a spate of Irish Republican Army attacks from the 1970s through the 1990s, to Afghanistan and Iraq, where public explosions and attacks have been commonplace during the past 2 decades, the world's citizens have grappled in many ways with balancing regular life and increased vigilance. In Israel, during the second uprising against the government's long-running military rule over Palestinians, Palestinian militants carried out a series of suicide bombings and shootings in Israel, targeting cafes, malls, and public buses. Between 2000, Avraham Sella, a professor of international relations at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, says many Israelis became scared to visit public places, though he says that, in the end, Israelis never. The United States is hardly at that point. But the conversation this year marked 2 decades since 2 student gunmen killed 12 schoolmates and a teacher at Columbine High School outside Denver, a watershed moment in mass shootings. Sam Haviland, Back in Virginia Beach, a couple sitting together at an outdoor shopping center offered differing views of how to navigate the changed landscape around them. But Jasmine Lucky, 25, a social worker, is now super. Ted Anthony, Director of Digital Innovation for the Associated Press, writes about American culture. Follow him on Twitter.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park.